Hi everyone, I've been asked to produce this short video because I back in 2007 actually received the graduate paper award provided by ISA. So it's already feels a little bit some time ago, and I think the task here is quite funny to think back to that very early stage of one's career. So when I was first encouraged by my PhD supervisor back then to hand in a paper. It was quite early in my process of doing my PhD. I'd been a PhD scholar for, let's say, half a year or so. But anyway, I decided to write down the paper. Currently, it was at that time a working paper. And for reasons I don't know yet, I actually received the notice afterwards that I was the chosen one to receive this paper award, which was at that time quite satisfying for me. But it also meant that at the conference that actually also took place in Copenhagen back in 2007, I had to present my work together with John Sugden and Joseph McQuire. And if you can imagine how nervous I was, that was the first time I was presenting at an academic conference, and then together with back then John Sugden, who was the editor of the International Review of Sociology of Sport, and Joseph McQuire, who is basically one of the leading scholars within our field of sociology of sport. So I was pretty nervous, but I survived it. And later my paper was also published in the International Journal of Sport Policy. So all in all, a feeling of success very early in your academic life, and also something that pushed you in the direction somehow, not necessarily quoting Barack Obama, but you had the feeling, yes, we can. So that was the feeling I was having at that time. When I look back at the paper and also the article that later came out of it, it also set somehow the direction for my research afterwards. It was a direction of sociology of organization or organizational perspectives, but also heavily underpinned and supported by social theory. So it is, and these two elements, my passion for theory and my adopting a kind of an organizational perspective, has guided me ever since. And I remember back then receiving this paper award was important for me because it was I was adopting a theory that is not necessarily common and well known among a global community of sociologists of sport, namely the theory of systems theory, formulated primarily by Niklas Luhmann. So at that time, this actually was kind of a testimony that I was on the right track. And furthermore, it was what also makes me very proud of the prize is that it was a single authored paper. These days, you see a lot of papers where you not only have one or two authors on, but you are one among 5 or 6. So for me, well knowing that I have been the sole author of this paper also meant that I could proudly say that this is the work that I have done myself. I'm not standing on the shoulders of a notable professor. So basically, that was also a very, very important acknowledgement for me. Also, and this is said slightly with some element of sarcasm, one thing you get used to when you decide to stay in academia and do research is rejections. So for me, it is also every time I maybe get rejections. It could be paper rejections, or it could be a grant application that is for various reasons rejected. This prize, having earned that in your early stage of your career, reminds me somehow that although that might find it hard to be rejected now and then, which is part of academic life, no question, I can remember back and saying, well, at least my first try wasn't rejected, quite the opposite. It was awarded something. So I think that is worth remembering as well. And I somehow encourage young scholars or early career scholars, not as necessarily linked to age, to hand in papers. It's a good way of trying to write something yourself. It's a way of testing your ideas. Do something that is extraordinary. Don't care that much whether you are fitting into mainstream, because sometimes it's actually what is beyond mainstream could be another theory that is not well known. It could be a methodology that you adopt. Hand it in for these kinds of events. At least somebody will read it, and you will maybe have the chance to present it if you are awarded or if you get an honorable mentioning. So that is what I encourage people to do. I hope this very short reflections back in time has helped and stimulated your ideas and your willingness to hand in future papers for the Graduate Paper Award provided by ISA. And I wish you all the best wherever you are out there.